Okay, let's get you the latest on news just in. You'll notice it on your screen. Yesterday, the South African Revenue Services confirming that it does not have records of Mustafa, the alleged buffalo buyer of President Cyril Ramaphosa, having declared the $580,000 allegedly that he brought into the country. And today, SARS confirming that President Cyril Ramaphosa and officers at his Ntabanyoni cattle farm are tax compliant. You'll remember that this attracted some attention following that independent panel report into the Phala farm matter on the president's tax compliance status following the coming in of those monies into South Africa. We get reaction on this and the cabinet reshuffle by President Cyril Ramaphosa yesterday. He announced that Sindisiwe Chikunga is taking over the transport ministry from Fikile Mbalula. She has served as Mbalula's deputy for 19 months. Mangcu will serve as the deputy minister. OUTA CEO Wayne Duvenage joins us now for the very latest. Wayne, thank you very much. The very unfortunate coincidence, I guess, of us receiving this news from SARS at this hour. I do wonder what you make of their confirmation that indeed the president as well as Ntabanyoni cattle farm are indeed tax compliant.
Yeah, look, I think the question is, do we believe and trust SARS? I would think so. I don't think they would want to open themselves up to making statements of this nature and then to be found wanting later. There's tax compliance and there's tax compliance. There might be some questions as to some of the transactions, which doesn't necessarily make somebody non-tax compliant, just that there's inquiries or queries that are in an open status. So that, that doesn't mean to say that there isn't something there, but it eventually comes out in time. So for now, we must take that as it reads and see what happens in time.
Thank you very much for your indulgence. Let's get into the matter that we invited you for today. The new transport minister has been announced in the form of Sindisiwe Chikunga. When you take a look at the outgoing transport minister, or Fikile Mbalula, how would you characterize his tenure?
Very poor. Mr. Mbalula failed on many fronts. When you look at the demise of PRASA, when you look at the taxi industry, the court rulings against him in the Eastern Cape on the bus routes that were being targeted. When you look at the whole license council, the Air License Council, Air Services License Council, that was not even in office and appointed. The council wasn't there for an entire year and longer. It's never happened before. During the COVID period, and when flights were flying. So I think the list goes on. The whole driver's license debacle. He's announced some time ago that we're going to push the new license or the license renewals now to 8 years. Every day they wait on that decision to implement is a day that creates costs. The corruption that's been taking place there. So I think at large, the minister has not fulfilled his duties to society well, and we hope that Minister Chikunga is going to be able to rectify and fix a lot of those problems, and they are deep-rooted problems now.
And that's just it. You've just drawn up a list for the incoming transport minister to deal with. What do we need to know about her?
Well, I think, her track record says that she has got a lot of experience in government. She has been a deputy minister before, albeit not in transport, and then, transport and in other positions. And she's been in transport for a couple of years now. So she would have grounded herself and understood a lot of the complexities and the problems. She has been very silent as a deputy minister. One always tries to gauge the impact that people coming in from their deputy roles. Now, I know deputy role is not necessarily the one that does all the speaking, and especially if you've got a minister like Mbalula there, you're going to struggle to get a word in edgeways sometimes. But I think she has the credentials. What we need to do is give her the space, but what we would like to see is now quick reaction to dealing with stuff. And the one big issue we have got as civil society is the PRASA chairperson and the conduct that is happening against whistleblowers like Martha Ngoya. It's just a litigation lawfare strategy that they are using against her. I would love to see the new minister call those whistleblowers in PRASA into her office and engage and understand what's going on, and then bring the chairperson in and mediate this process and fix it, because she has been found not guilty on every front, and yet they continue with this lawfare strategy. We want to see the minister now taking up the reins and fixing this department, because it is in a relative mess.
Yeah, you speak of giving her space and time to familiarize herself, obviously, with the work of the office. I do wonder whether it's changes at a municipal level or at a ministerial level. You have some government employees who are worried at this time that, while the new person brings in a new team, how much does that take us back? Are you aware of such incidents as well?
Well, yeah, and that's a good question. I think because she's been there, she should be aware of a lot of the stuff and the challenges. But to the point that you're saying as well, transport cuts across provinces and local government. A lot of money is handed out via Treasury into MECs to deal with the road quality and maintenance problems. And yet a lot of that money is either wasted, goes missing, or spent on bad jobs. And so we have a serious problem in the country at the moment. And it cuts across into the state-owned entities as well, into DPs such as in Transnet, and yet SANROL is in the Department of Transport section. The final declarations, by the way, to amend the decision on e-toll still hasn't been made. They've said it, they've spoken about it, but they actually haven't gazetted it. So that's one thing. We hope she picks up the ball very quickly and does that, because it's still in limbo. The whole e-toll thing is still in limbo after all this time. So there's a number of things which I think she's aware of, and she can move quite swiftly to undo the hemorrhaging and the problems that have existed here. And we hope that she takes those low-hanging fruit issues and deals with them quickly. She's got a good opportunity to prove herself quite quickly. It remains to be seen if she does, though.
Wayne Duvenage, a pleasure. Thank you very much. He's the CEO of OUTA. More news for you in a few moments.